In the heart of medieval England, long before modern science or global travel, a village encountered something that should not have existed. Near the small settlement of Woolpit in Suffolk, villagers working the fields noticed movement coming from an old wolf trap, deep pits once dug to catch dangerous animals. But what emerged was not a creature, it was two children. They appeared human, yet unmistakably different. Their clothes were made from unfamiliar materials, they spoke no known language, and their skin, every visible inch of it, was green. Not stained, not diseased in any obvious way, green. This moment would become one of the strangest recorded encounters in medieval history, documented not as folklore, but as fact.
The children were a boy and a girl, appearing no older than 10. They were frightened, disoriented, and incapable of communication. Villagers tried offering food, but the children refused bread, meat, and dairy, foods that sustained medieval life. Days passed. The children weakened. Only when raw green beans were discovered did their behavior change. They ate eagerly, as though it were the only food they recognized. Slowly, under care, their condition stabilized. But despite efforts to help them survive, the boy grew increasingly ill. He never recovered. The girl lived, and with time, she learned to speak.
When the surviving child finally communicated, her explanation unsettled everyone who heard it. She claimed that she and her brother came from a land called the Land of St. Martin, a place unlike England in every way. A land without bright sunlight, a world permanently bathed in twilight. She described a society where everyone shared green skin, where the landscape was unfamiliar, and where boundaries between places were unclear. She spoke of following the sound of bells before suddenly finding herself overwhelmed by light, and then emerging into Woolpit. There was no known place matching this description, and there still isn't. Medieval Europe produced many legends, but this story stands apart for one critical reason. It was recorded independently by two respected chroniclers. William of Newburgh, a careful historian skeptical of myths, documented the event in detail. Ralph of Coggeshall, an abbot known for factual reporting, also recorded it without embellishment. Neither dismissed the incident as fantasy. Neither offered a definitive explanation. They treated it as an unresolved reality. In a time when miracles were exaggerated freely, their restraint is what makes this case so disturbing.
Modern scholars have attempted to ground the story in logic. One leading theory suggests the children were Flemish refugees, displaced by war and famine. Their green skin may have resulted from chlorosis, a form of severe malnutrition. Their strange language could have been a regional dialect unfamiliar to villagers. Old mining tunnels might explain their emergence from the ground. But this explanation raises uncomfortable questions. Why did both children have the same rare condition? Why did their skin gradually change color? And how does malnutrition explain a shared story of a sunless world? Because no explanation ever fully worked, darker theories began to take hold. Some believed the children crossed into our world from a parallel reality, one where sunlight never reached the surface. Others suspect an encounter far older than modern UFO stories, interpreted through medieval eyes. And a few believe the children came from beneath the earth itself, from places humanity was never meant to find. What makes the story truly unsettling is not the theories, it's the certainty that the children were real. They were seen, they were fed, they lived among villagers. Their skin slowly changed, but their origin never did. The girl eventually grew up, assimilated into society, and vanished into historical silence, taking the truth with her. No record explains where she truly came from, or whether the path she followed into our world ever closed behind her. And if it didn't, then perhaps the green children of Woolpit weren't an isolated incident, just one of the rare moments when two worlds briefly overlapped. If stories like this make you question how much of our reality we truly understand, you'll want to subscribe, because there are many more mysteries that history recorded and never explained.